The most disturbing instruction in the Arkham Crate file is not written like a curse. It is not poetic. It is not dramatic. It is procedural. A short conservation note, unsigned and undated with certainty, gives a single warning: do not open in rooms with windows. No explanation follows. Not dangerous, not contaminated, not fragile. Just that. Do not open it in a room where the outside world can be seen. At first, the note seems almost meaningless. Expedition objects are often light-sensitive. Old paper fades, biological samples degrade, photographic plates can be ruined by exposure. But the rest of the file suggests the warning was not about preservation, it was about containment. Tonight, we reopen Case File 005, the Windowless Room. In ordinary archival practice, objects are stored. They are labeled, catalogued, protected from moisture, heat, light, and mishandling. The Arkham Crate followed that pattern only briefly. Early records suggest it entered Miskatonic University as expedition material. Then its category changed. First to biological object, then to non-circulating restricted object, then to a location code associated with basement room B17. That progression matters. Storage is passive. Containment is active. Storage asks, how do we preserve this? Containment asks, how do we prevent this from interacting with anything else? By the time the crate was moved to B17, the records no longer read like ordinary curation. They read like a system of rules assembled after something had gone wrong. There are ordinary reasons an archive might avoid windows. Sunlight damages paper, temperature changes near glass can harm specimens, exterior moisture can create conservation problems, but the warning attached to the Arkham Crate does not say, store away from sunlight. It does not say, protect from heat. It does not say, avoid ultraviolet exposure. It says, do not open in rooms with windows. That distinction is important. The danger, if the note is taken literally, was not long-term exposure. It was the act of opening. And the problem was not light alone. It was the room. Something about an opened crate inside a room connected visually to the outside world had become unacceptable. There are only a few categories of explanation: light, reflection, airflow, line of sight, or perception. The university records never state which one mattered, but later handling rules suggest they were concerned with more than sunlight. Room B17 was not a prominent archive room. It was not part of the public collections. It was not listed among standard specimen storage facilities. It was a basement room, windowless, concrete-walled, accessible through a service corridor. According to one old floor plan, B17 sat near utility lines and storage spaces used for materials the university did not circulate. By itself, that is not suspicious. Universities use basements for all kinds of restricted objects, but the timing is difficult to ignore. The first B17 reference appears only after the crate's classification had become more restrictive, and after the warning about windows appears in the handling file. If the sequence is correct, B-17 was not simply where the crate happened to end up. It was selected. The room matched the rule. The window rule is not the only unusual instruction. Later notes associated with B-17 list additional restrictions. No mirrors, no glass-fronted specimen cabinets, no polished instruments left uncovered, no photographic plates exposed during opening. One entry is especially strange. Avoid reflective surfaces during lid removal. That instruction changes the case. If the concern were sunlight, mirrors would matter only as a secondary issue. But the rules do not focus on brightness. They focus on reflection. The crate was not merely kept in darkness. It was kept away from surfaces that could produce a second image, a duplicate angle, a reflected view. This raises a disturbing possibility. Perhaps the problem was not what the crate contained. Perhaps the problem was what happened when its contents could be seen from more than one direction at once. By the time the crate was assigned to B-17, the handling file appears less like an archive record and more like a safety protocol. The surviving rules are fragmentary, but consistent. Open only under covered light. No windows. No reflective surfaces. Two-person minimum. One observer remains outside the room. Do not leave the lid open longer than necessary. Record all sound complaints from adjacent rooms. That final instruction is easily overlooked. Sound complaints, not odor, not leakage, not chemical exposure. Sound. This connects the Arkham Crate to two earlier strands of the investigation: Danforth's unexplained auditory trauma and the archivist's report of the sound from inside the wood. The university may not have understood what the crate was, but it had learned enough to write rules, and rules like these are rarely written before an incident. They are written after one. The first clear sign that the B-17 protocol failed appears in a short incident notation. The date is partially obscured, the names are redacted, but the room number is legible. B-17. The note references an unauthorized opening during a facility's inspection. The phrase used is improper viewing conditions. No injury is recorded, no death, no formal disciplinary action survives, but several follow-up actions appear immediately afterward. A windowed interior door in the adjacent corridor was replaced with solid wood. A glass-fronted cabinet was removed. Access to B-17 was reduced from restricted to special authorization, and one maintenance request describes a persistent tapping reported from a room that shared no active plumbing with B-17. The official explanation was building noise, but the timing is difficult to ignore. Someone opened the crate under the wrong conditions, and after that, the university changed the room. After the breach, references to B-17 become less frequent, then stranger. A later basement plan omits the room entirely, not relabeled, not reassigned, omitted. There are ordinary explanations: renovation, record cleanup, security, institutional embarrassment. But when compared with the incident note and the subsequent modifications, a different possibility emerges. B-17 may have been removed from public-facing plans because it was no longer considered a room in the ordinary sense. It was not storage, not collection space, not maintenance access. It was controlled space. A place defined less by what it held than by the rules required to enter it. The university did not lose track of B-17. It concealed the fact that B-17 existed. The windowless room does not reveal what was inside the Arkham Crate, but it reveals something almost as important. Miskatonic University did not treat the crate as ordinary evidence. It built rules around it, rules about light, rules about glass, rules about sound, rules about who could stand inside the room and who had to remain outside. Those rules suggest experience. Someone opened the crate, someone saw, heard, or measured something that made ordinary storage impossible. And in the final B-17 file, the investigation finds the first sign that the room itself may have changed. A maintenance note, written after the breach, records a shelving survey delayed by a measurement dispute. The phrase is easy to miss. Interior dimensions inconsistent with exterior wall count. No explanation follows. Case file 005 remains open. Next time, case file 006. The room that was larger inside. Because once the crate entered B-17, the university's problem may no longer have been what was inside the box. It may have been what was happening to the room around it.